We are officially live.
All right.
I just got notification. Let me just.
Why would you ever do that?
Dangerous territory.
Yeah, I know. The four of us live, unfiltered, raw.
I know.
Raw dogging it on a Saturday night.
All right, and there we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
There we go. Yep.
All right,
Right.
that was a good stream. We'll talk to everybody later.
All right. Thanks.
And we're canceled.
Yeah.
All right. So Doc and I will do the snap just for the timing. 3, 2, 1. And half of the people in this chat have now vanished. Thank you, Infinity Stones. All right. As per usual, I don't have show notes for this because at this point, I think this is your 8th appearance on the show.
Yeah.
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 At least 7. Pretty sure it's 8. It's too many goddamn times. I found the email, actually, by the way, Alan, of you emailing me. It was like September of 2 years ago.
Oh
You
my
were
God.
like, hey, so-and-so put me in touch with you, to see if you'd be interested in having us on your show to come talk about Pocus Hocus number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy. Will, we've been doing this for 2
Good old
years.
days. Yeah, it's been a while.
Joey Galvez. I'm still here. I survived the snap. Yes, you did, Joey. All right, so we will get started underway in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to Capes on the Couch, where comics get counseling. I'm Anthony Sitko.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
This is another Creators on the Couch episode. Surprise! I know we were supposed to be doing Big B Wolf, but then we talked to our good friends Alan and Will, and they said, hey, we've got a Kickstarter launching for Grandma Chainsaw number 3. And I said, well, screw the calendar. We're going to have Alan and Will on back for their 8th appearance on the program. At this point, you guys pretty much have like a, just like a permanent guest spot here on the calendar. Anytime you guys release anything, it's like, all right, let's get A&W Root Beer back on the show. So welcome once again, Alan and Will. How the hell are you guys?
Doing great.
Man, yeah, we're great. And like always, we are so happy to be here with you
Yeah,
guys.
thanks for having us.
Yep.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you guys at this point. It's like, bringing friends back.
Yep.
Because you're friends. You're not just friends of the show, but I consider you personal friends at this point.
Well,
even
yeah,
though we've never met in person.
I know,
That's
yeah,
so
you're
sweet.
you're our best friends that we never hang out with.
Exactly. Which makes us the perfect friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah, and I guess that's how you deduce your relationship with Doc too, because I send you shipments with his stuff in it, and you don't give it to him.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. That is true. He's my best friend, my brother, and he lives like 20 minutes away from me, and yet we never physically interact. That's mostly because he is hardly ever in his house.
That is also true because of my work schedule. Having said that, we are going to be together in about a week or so, right?
Yes, that's right. Well, by the time this episode releases, yes, it's going to be right after this episode drops. We are going to be at PoochCon Poconos on Sunday, October 22nd, 11 a.m. We will be doing a panel on Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, and very excited about that. Still have to finish wrapping up watching it. And I know I've only got about a week left because Netflix is reminding me it's going away as of October 21st. They're pulling the anime version, not, I assume the live action remake will remain, on the servers, but the anime will, I guess they're not paying for the licensing rights anymore. So I think I just have the 2 episodes left. I literally just have the 2-part finale, and then I downloaded the movie because that's not available anywhere legally. Yar.
Oh,
So I had to find other ways.
I could have just given you the movie. I do have that.
Okay, well, like I said, I sailed the 7 seas and I managed to find a copy of the movie. So
You're in for a good time because the finale and the movie are awesome. So
yeah, I've been really enjoying it, and just it's the kind of show where I think I said this either I definitely said it in the Discord at least. When I'm watching it on Netflix, when the episode ends, I will exit out of the menu and then go back in to start it over again because I don't want to skip the theme song.
Yeah.
It is one of the greatest themes in television history, not just anime, television, period.
To get that type of you guys don't understand just how big a compliment that is coming from Anthony.
This is true. And I have an extensive collection of television theme songs. And in fact, never mind. I was going to go off on my Angela Lansbury.
We're live now. You can't
story.
do that.
Yeah.
I'll fill you in later. I'll tell you the story of Angela Lansbury and how the Murder, She Wrote theme song ruined an evening for me.
Mod is the ultimate. That's the ultimate theme song.
Actually, we have
that's
some.
always the number one spot.
We also have some comments coming in from Jay Burns.
Yes, Jay Burns, my dudes. Will loving the girth on the beard, and Alan's arms can still be seen. They're so massive. Hope this channel has enough bandwidth for all this sexy talent. Love it. So we are live streaming this. We are live streaming. So we appreciate all the feedback from the folks checking us out on the YouTube channel. So if you're not already, obviously, if you're listening to this on the podcast release, it's already been recorded. But if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are going to be live streaming a little bit more frequently. And hopefully, once I get some things configured, we can also simultaneously live stream on the guineageek.com website and get shared over there.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Sure. No questions. Save them till the end, Will. Yes, go ahead.
Jay's comment, did he say like the girth on the beard? Because
Yeah.
I could have sworn, like when I first heard that, it was like the girth on the weird. And the weird has expanded significantly as well.
It's the girth on the beard.
Yeah. Just wanted to mention that. So
we just had to mention that just for clarity's sake.
Right.
Just to clarify, the show is PG-13. Now, we're talking about girth, expanding of girth. That's a whole other podcast, but also kind of on brand for an Alan and Will episode.
Yeah,
we can explain everybody, I promise.
So for the fans that haven't listened to the previous 7 times you folks have, you've been on, why don't you just give us a little rundown of who you are and why we've had you back as many times as we have.
Will, do you want to start it?
Well, I am Will Radford. I am the co-creator, co-writer of Grandma Chainsaw and Pocus Hocus and Horus in Hell. And I'm very, very proud of those. And I can't speak to why you continue to have us back. I mean, it must be it's insanity. That's the only thing. No, we love this show though. Like, we love coming on and talking to you guys. Like, this is always really, really cool. So deep dive into the psychological stuff.
Yeah, and I'm Alan Dunford, and that's all the same credentials as Will. And that's it. And that's actually what I was going to say too. I was going to say, I don't know why these madmen keep having us on the show, but hey, here we are, right?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I lost my sense of direction with this entire show about, I'd say, 2.5 years ago. So the fact that we, you think it's been longer than that, Anthony?
I mean, I'd say 3 to 4.
All right. That's fair. Just when I start getting into blogging again, that's when you throw that at me. All right.
Well, listen, I got to keep you on your toes. So we are here talking about Grandma Chainsaw number 3. The Kickstarter just launched, and all of your prior Kickstarters, if I'm not mistaken, and you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, each one has been more successful than the previous ones. And so what are you doing for this one to help continue that exponential growth?
So it's weird, right? Because we absolutely, God, we love so much what we're doing. And I think it shows in the work. The big thing with it too is we're just trying to always put out something consistent as well. Grandma Chainsaw is a weird beast, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But we're just trying to tell the stories that we would want to read, and to deliver the unexpected as much as possible. And I think that's stuff that we're trying to really brand ourselves with, and that is to expect the unexpected and just to be entertained and have fun, because we don't take ourselves too seriously. Even though we sit down and really try to like plan everything out as much as we can, we're still cracking up and having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing to us.
Yeah, for sure. And I would just add that, like, in terms of the, giving people something that they might not expect, or having that in mind for this particular issue, I feel like it really marries together the two things that we brought into this, that this was founded on, which we have these characters, we have this story and this humor, but we also have a lot of the slasher action that I feel like really comes to the surface in this issue. So it's a really nice 50-50 combo of those two things.
Yeah, because I remember whenever we initially were working on Grandma Chainsaw with issue 1, we were afraid we didn't go hard enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
issue 2. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah.
because I remember, it's funny. I remember issue 2. We were just laughing so hard, and we were like, "We have to stop this! Like, we have to get out of this hallway." And I think we actually cut some stuff that we had for the hallway sequence, but we were just having too much fun writing it.
And that's the thing, right? With Grandma Chainsaw 1, we really wanted a slow, methodical build, and that was our purpose from the beginning. And then we obviously we are our own worst critics, so we were afraid again with that issue. We didn't go as balls to the wall as we could for Grandma 1. But we wanted to give up the suspense and the mystery, and then we still wanted the kills to pay off. But then once we hit Grandma 2, we were like, okay, cool, training wheels are off, let's rock. And then we were able to really just, no pun intended, cut loose.
Right.
Yeah.
Jay says now he's waiting for the done rad cut of Grandma Chainsaw.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Nice.
So
do a director's cut.
There you go. I mean, listen, I've seen director's cuts of comics before, and maybe you could throw in some, scripts for undrawn things for like a trade paperback. If you do like a compilation, you'd throw like stuff in the back.
Well, we're gonna get into that here in a second after we talk about Grandma 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot we got to talk to you guys about.
All right, jumping the gun a little bit there, but
I was going to say, like, I hope, like, include our scripts for like ideas that I've pitched to you that you've just been like, no.
Yeah.
Let's save that for later. I'll write like a treatment or several treatments for like the wackier, crazier.
Nice. Well, I mean, fair enough, because I know in the past, I, for the sake of people that don't know my stance on this, I love everything that these guys have done, but also when they announced the first Grandma Chainsaw, I've seen my share of horror stuff, and I pointed out, like, all right, let's see where this goes. All right, Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. All right, like, and I said the dumbest thing I could have said initially, which was like, all right, I mean, don't get me wrong, it fills the genre. Good on you guys. I don't know where, I don't know how this is any different, but that's okay. Kind of like that backhanded compliment. Not that I do that. Usually I just slap people across the face, but you guys really did and continue to just push the envelope here. And I am enjoying the wackiness. Just totally reveling.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's like the biggest compliment we could get, because Grandma 2, and obviously, of course, interested to hear your guys' thoughts. That was whenever we really decided, let's push and see what we can do. Not so much from a writing standpoint, but challenging the art team, right? Because we sent these pages to Brian, so it's kind of hard to talk about this without spoiling too much, but I guess we do have to give the spoiler warning, right? People die in this book. It's crazy to think about, but it happens. And with the death scene for the couple that we did, that was something there that I think that at that point, Will, that was probably the hardest that we've ever laughed, was when we were writing that thing.
Probably.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, most likely.
and that's the thing too, Doc, like, to your point with just about everything, we we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. There things are tropes for a reason. And of course we threw in the trope of the gross couple that no one wants to be around. And they, of course, they get caught by Hazel making out. And then it's just insanity ensues from there. And we were just having so much fun playing with that.
Yes, and that fun in the writing absolutely comes across. Um, and again, I really appreciate the combination of the comedy and the horror. Um, both the katana,
Yeah.
the Black Friday sale, like, they're buying samurai swords at the mall.
Yeah.
And then you also the Kalata Barada Nick 2,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
I saw the Kalata Barada and I was like, is he going to be Nick 2 or necktie? Because like it could go
Yeah.
either way depending on
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you want to reference. I was
Army of Darkness,
thinking maybe
right?
you could go
Yeah.
for the full
Yeah.
Evil Dead there,
Yeah.
Army of Darkness.
Yes.
But yeah, Jay Burns, justice for the Davenport.
That poor Davenport.
That poor
I know.
Davenport has been
Seen
soiled
many
and besotted and
Yeah. So, and that was something too, that was a joke that Will and I wrote because we were making fun of, my upbringing, because I was raised with my grandparents. And it's just funny just to make fun of yourself and just to do stupid stuff like that. And just, I don't know, it was just such a fun break for that. And then, yeah, it's just, God, I don't know. I love Grandma too. I looked at it again before we got in here, and I sound like, it's eye rolly. Be like, I love my book, but like I really really do love Grandma Chainsaw #2 because it was just so much friggin' fun.
Grandma's got your nose.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just stupid shit like that, right? And it's just so much fun.
But there is, you're right. It is stupid shit, but it's funny stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I can't hate on that because it knows what it is. It's
Yeah.
For me, the problem comes when you have art that is very clearly trying to be pretentious and trying to elevate itself.
Mm-hmm.
That you really have to walk a fine line in order to pull off without coming across like you're not smelling your own farts.
Right.
I love the stuff that is like, yes, it's campy, it's schlocky, it's corny, and we're just going whole hog on it. I can appreciate that because of the self-awareness. And that's the type of stuff that I enjoy, is things that revel in their own awareness. And you two as writers are always so aware of yourselves and your audience and the genres in which you write, whether it's Pocus or Grandma Chainsaw, you're aware of the tropes, you're aware of the setups, and you're aware of the switches that can be made and the twists. And I love that.
Thank you. Thanks very much. That's very, that means a lot. I mean, I really feel like this one, well, not that everything we do isn't a labor of love, but this one especially, there was just something about it. I mean, like we've had too many ideas, I think, over the years for horror and slasher related things, and we've had a lot of conversations just about different movies we watch, even some of the more obscure ones, that kind of thing, that we've always admired this genre, and so we I don't know, it's a labor of love.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Now,
sorry, I was okay. Yeah, keep going.
No, go ahead, Alan.
No, I was gonna say, like, and the big thing too that we always try to drive home is we want our characters to be fun and memorable, whether you hate them because they are just so vulgar, volatile, annoying, however you want to look at it, or just because you think the character's great then we've done our job, right? And I think that was one thing that we tried to strive, especially with this, to try to separate ourselves a little bit from some of the stuff, because we wanted each character to be able to stand on their own merits, whether some of those merits are god awful or not. But we wanted them, to have their own life and their own breathing room, and to anytime they're in a scene, they steal the show, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, it's like looking at it, it's like with character anything. I mean, I feel this way, and I feel like Alan probably feels the same. Like there's always, when it comes to building characters and doing that sort of thing, and finding their voices and their personalities, like there are endless layers to uncover. Plus, not to mention, when we sat down to write this thing, we had to do something. I mean, my God, we had a list of kills. We had talked about all these crazy, wacky, kills that we could do that fit into the story.
I was gonna ask you guys, which came first, the kills or the characters?
The kills.
A lot of the kills.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, 100% the kills. Yeah.
The Dead Squad and stuff like that. I mean,
that was almost toward the end of.
It was, because we were like, well,
it wasn't. Because we were talking about
murder somebody.
Yeah.
We have to have victims, so that's what happened.
Yeah, because the big with the Dead Squad was, whenever we were talking about it, we, again, Will was definitely the creative force behind the Dead Squad, because we didn't know what we were going to do with them, and then, or what characters we were going to make. And then Will was like, well, instead of just having the 4 people in the house, why don't we have like hunters come in or something?
Right.
They know that Hazel's
idea.
Yeah, because Hazel's doing that. And I was like, well, that's really good. I was like, let's take it a step further, right? Let's try to maybe make them like AV Club-esque type thing, and all this stuff. And then that's when the ideas just kept flowing.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest, I feel like if we had, made them hunters, they would have, or something like that, it would have ended up being like more one notes.
Yeah.
Or some of the jokes may have been a little off-putting, like we're making fun of Appalachians, and there are plenty of great Appalachians and hunters that I know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, but like so the idea, I think, was to develop a cast of characters that no one would miss. Like at the end of the day, like entertaining to sort of follow, but at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, good. That's another one. That's
This is the opposite question that people usually ask. Who's a character that after you created them, you said, oh boy, we're definitely keeping them in, but wow, I wish we didn't have to.
Alan? Who would that character be?
Probably Fury Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we were making Fury Chan, he's the leader of the Dead Squad. He's a nightmare. Like, just on so many levels, right? God.
It's that one for sure.
Yeah.
All right. And Jay points out Fury Chan will be the most iconic douche in the history of comics. I love /hate him so much. There you go. I don't know what Anthony's opinion. I am absolutely agreeing. I think it's unanimous.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think I mentioned this before. Like, I went to college with a guy not too dissimilar from Fury Chan. Like,
I think we've
all known a Fury Chan. Right?
Yeah,
he lived down the hall from me. He had hygiene issues. He was, very much a neck beard. Just
Yeah.
So pivoting a little bit from the funny to the not necessarily, kind of serious. So much of this, so much of the humor and what we love about the book obviously stems from the artwork. And, talking not just about the penciling by Brian, but also the colors that were done so phenomenally by Jasen Smith. And when I saw recently that Jasen had unexpectedly passed away, I immediately texted Alan, to offer my condolences, to Alan and Will, and to pass along obviously to the family and friends. We actually had an opportunity to talk to Jasen back for the Grandma Chainsaw 1 episode, he joined us.
Mhm.
So that was, just a real pleasure to chat with him and get some insight into his, his mindset and his technique and everything like that. And, I feel just, it's incredibly tragic loss. Someone who's basically like, our contemporary age wise. I mean, that alone is,
Yeah.
scary, scary shit, to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man.
But his impact on the books, and this is like less of a question, just kind of more of like a general discussion, just his impact on the books, especially in a horror book, because obviously in a slasher, you need those bright splashes of color, you need the blood, it's got to pop off the page, and he did that so well.
Yeah.
And it's just like I said, just a real tragic loss. Jason will be sorely missed. Such a talented, funny guy. Yeah. Excuse me while I deal with this cough. Alan and Will, just I guess give us some of your thoughts and memories of working with Jason.
Yeah, Jason's fantastic. I talk to Jason probably about every day. And you can't help but become friends with the people that you're working with. You know what I mean? Like, Brian and I, we're close. Dave, we're close with him too. And it boils down to like, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to create stuff with people, but also enjoy working with these people. Right. And Jason was so amazing. And Will and I learned so much from him because, he took us on when we didn't know anybody in this. Right. And if we had to go back and do it all again, I don't think we would have changed anything. Right. And yeah, man, he, again, just such a good light, and nothing can ever put that out. And his work will definitely carry on. Right.
Yeah, I think just really quick, you said something so valuable. You said that we learned a lot from him. A comic book can look like a 70s horror movie. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he was tremendous. Yeah. He was a tremendously talented guy, and he brought, like, whether it was making the Grandma Chainsaw look, like I just said, like a 70s horror movie, or colors that popped out of black and white in Hocus Hocus. It was like they functioned as characters themselves. I mean, it's a tremendous loss, and I'm going to miss him.
Yep.
Yeah, he was endlessly talented. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's something that, and I apologize for getting too deep or philosophical about this, but the idea that something you create, something that you're a part of, that outlasts your actual physical existence on this earth, that is one of the best things I think humanity is capable of. And
Agreed.
I greatly appreciate anybody that is willing to put the obvious effort and time into what he did. And I know there's more to him than that, but that just speaks so well that the people here that are talking about him right now, I mean, I remember, and I'll admit I didn't have that much of a chance to go beyond that, but that means that every single time I look at a panel, I read one of these things over and over again. And my daughter, thankfully, she loves this, and she I'm serious. She opens it up and just says, oh man, this is so cool. And I can point out, and I said, well, you gotta, you have a great opportunity for a person that's not with us anymore to show their trade, to show their craft, and just how amazing it was.
So, and that's why obviously it was, we didn't even need to discuss it or anything, but obviously the campaign for Grandma 3 is dedicated to Jason's memory and all the work that he's done for us. We were in production on this whenever Jason did pass away. And, a huge shout out to Carrie Salveo for stepping in. And, I don't want to say the word, taking over Jason, because that's not what she's doing. She came in because, and this is what's so beautiful about this community, because once it kind of caught wind that Jason was no longer with us, we had so many people reaching out, offering their talents and just saying, hey, do you guys need anything at all? And it wasn't done in like a gross malicious, like, hey, you guys, I'm trying to move in now or whatever. It was like, people that we've talked to throughout the years doing this stuff who reached out to us, and they genuinely wanted to help, right? And because we're ingrained in the community. We try to always, people, it's no secret about what we're doing, what we have coming up, right? Because we love talking about it. We're so excited. And yeah, Carrie stepped up, and she followed what Jason was doing as closely as she could. And we could not be more thankful for her for really coming in. And she has been such a great positive light through all of this too.
Well, that kind of answers one of the questions I was going
Yeah.
to ask, was, knowing that Carrie was on book number 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask, how you ended up hooking up with her. And I know that, Alan, you had mentioned to me just in a text that, some of the work that Jason had done already
Mm-hmm.
on the book is going to be kind of included as like a little bonus.
Yeah, we're going to put it in the back of the book. Jason, he, and it's kind of sad to see it this way, right? Because we all have a Google Drive folder that we all share everything in, and Jason was freeing up space on his Google Drive at that time, so he deleted his hard file. But luckily, Dave already lettered page 1 and 2 that he did. So we're going to put that in the back of the book with a little dedication to him. And yeah, it's just, again, it's a sad thing, but like Doc said, it's beautiful that we were able to have him when we did, and we were so lucky and fortunate to have him.
Joey in the live chat says Carrie highlights all the best things about Jason's work. It was very cool to see them side by side.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely can't be
Mm-hmm.
an easy thing for Carrie to come in and
Right.
Fill those shoes, so to speak, or as you said, not take over, but succeed.
Yeah.
Pick up the pen, or pick up the
stylus.
Pick up the style. Yeah, the stylus, as it were.
Yeah.
That's definitely not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like this also kind of gives us an opportunity to talk about grief, within the confines of the story, because obviously we're dealing, we're talking about death in a very real sense here, but we're also talking about death in, within the story.
Right.
And moving forward into issue 3, we see the characters really coming to terms with the situation that they're in and their own mortality, such as it is, having seen, just a handful of the preview pages from issue 3.
It feels like an
characters-
episode 3, doesn't it?
Dealing with the
Mhm.
the tenuousness of their situation and how fragile everything is, and trying to figure out what is the best path moving forward to get out of this, to survive. I know excuse me.
No.
I know so much of this was written before everything happened with,
Right.
with Jason, but how much thought was put into any of, addressing the mental state that the characters are in, understanding obviously that you can't get too bogged down in the headiness of it all, but are there opportunities in the stories, without too much spoiler, for the characters to kind of take a beat and assess things, just seeing as we are a mental health show, I just kind of want to take that opportunity to address that.
Will, can I start with the question here? And then, because the beginning of issue 3 was Will's idea. And it worked out great. So what we decided to do with that was, we wanted our 2 main characters, the twins, Hayden and Gabby, to really kind of come to terms with they're being confined and witnessing all this stuff, and this horrible thing happens to their loved ones. Just, because the whole story of Grandma Chainsaw takes place in a night. So whenever we end with issue 4, it's all just been one evening, right? So we wanted them to come to terms with their loss, and we always wanted to set it up with the juxtaposition of how the dead squad handles loss, and it's totally different. And we wanted that because it humanizes our main characters a little more than it does with the dead squad. um so, and that's why, it was so important at the beginning of this issue for Hayden and Gabby to kind of like have a weird form of survivor's guilt, and the things in the house are really playing on that, right? And it was something that, like I said, Will had at the beginning. So Will, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the idea just kind of came from adding some more depth to the characters and keeping people interested on that level. Also connecting to the fact that even in a crazy, wild slasher, uh, I mean, if these characters are even remotely three-dimensional, this is going to affect them, having lost the two people that mean the most to them in the entire world. And I mean, you kind of want to do something with that as opposed to just having the the general shock of that, which it did gave us an opportunity to develop, or maybe I should say examine, like some of maybe the flaws, or not even flaws but depth of these two characters, just a little bit more in that moment. You're dealing with limited space in comic books to do that. But I mean, that was kind of the idea for me. And when I was talking to Alan about it, I was like, let's sort of have this moment, drop it in there, kind of, just so we can keep the interest in the characters up, the empathy there, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
We don't have to make it super long, and then we can balance it out with the rest of the stuff that we needed to do.
Right. And again, so Hayden and Gabby, they're obviously feeling because they lost their loved ones, right? But then we have the dead squad, who they just don't care about death. And we thought that was actually important for their characters, because, it's how they're viewing the whole situation. Right. One of them goes down. They're like, oh, well, I guess I'm about to step up now. Right. It's just like, it's just they, I guess their level of empathy is just way down.
Yeah, I mean, a part of it is, as campy as it is, there is an actual response that really does justify that. You mentioned next man up. I mean, if people are dying left and right in front of you, then you have two choices: either you die with them or you find a way to stay alive. And whatever that is just, yeah, it may not make sense. It may sound heartless. It may sound cold and all, but darn it, if you're going to be alive, then we'll figure out the other stuff later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much a survival mechanism at that point to not dwell on it too much. And that's why I said, like, I didn't want them just, okay, I know we're surrounded by all this death, but let's take a moment and think about how we feel about all this. Like, I wasn't looking for that at all.
Yeah.
I was just, more.
No, don't get me. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some areas where it gets to the point of being delusional. I mean, if you basically, if you see a lot of supernatural stuff happening in front of you, and then you don't know exactly what's going on. I know my first thought isn't like, oh yeah, I know my compadre's winning for sure. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's that. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, that was I mean, that was just my idea behind it. It's kind of like, we know, again, we're self-aware. We know that it's horror, we know it's slasher, and that it's fun. But we kind of just wanted to have that moment that you want to you want to cover like the whole spectrum of things, and there are a lot of slasher movies that have those moments. Sometimes to a fault, sometimes too many of those moments, and it's just weird. Like, I mean, that does occur. But that was my idea behind it. Is additionally, it you have that establishing, the terror of all of this. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is an extra emotional dimension to, our monster slash monsters.
Mhm.
So it just hit too many marks not to have that moment there. But if the readers and fans feel like it genuinely and authentically addresses grief in that brief moment, then I'd say that's a good thing. I'd say we
Yep.
did our job as writers, hopefully.
And then the other part as writers too that Will and I we were really working on with this issue was because this is our first mini series, and it was how do we tell, because once we drop a pretty big bomb on the last page of issue 3, for what sets up everything for Grandma Chainsaw number 4, the finale. And it was really how do we tell this wild story in 4 pages, or 4 pages, I'm sorry, 4 issues, you know. And I think that we were definitely on the right track, and with how everything has gone with it, it has been so much fun. And we are both so sad to see this thing end. So issue 3 is kind of bittersweet for us right now.
No, I could definitely see
Mhm.
that. One other thing about this, and this speaks much more to the genre and not so much to your particular books, but the idea that, at least in my mind, as I'm reading through, I got this more in issue 2 than the start of
Mhm.
3. Um, I'm like, this is incredible how much in my thought process, I'm like, I'd be completely hopeless because, or in a lot of despair, because it is so incredibly obvious they are out of their league.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even close. We're not talking about people that are finding resolve and ways to, creative ways to make it work and all that. No, this is, man, this is pathetic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it definitely kind of raises the question of why these people would choose to take this path in the first place that led them to this point.
Mhm.
But it's also the kind of thing you don't want to think about it too much, because then you really start to question so many other things, and then the whole thing unravels. So it's like, okay,
Yeah,
like
because that was
a wizard did it, and just move on.
yeah, because that was the first thing we talked about. Like when we had Grandma Chainsaw, the first thing we talked about is what's the ending, because we didn't want to just start writing this thing and then just try to figure out an ending. And we think that the ending that we obviously landed with, I think everyone is going to be very happy with it. At least I hope anyway. They could be like, "Oh, come on," you know.
Mm.
We
I
could
think,
get one of those,
I
but
think if they've stuck with us this far, they'll be
yeah.
they're content with it. Yeah.
But like I
You don't
said,
want a Game of Thrones it.
oh no, no.
Ugh.
That's why
I
we
don't
want
think
to
it's
end it.
quite. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
that's why
quite.
we want to end it at 4 issues.
It's not that abrupt.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, not
But
quite
yeah,
that abrupt.
no, like I said, the end of issue 3, this was the thing we're so excited to get. We've been, I think, more excited just for the end of issue 3 to get to, because that way it's really dropping heavy on what's going on. And it's, yeah, we're really really happy with it. And again, this book has been such a fun ride. And I think one of my favorite things about this book is seeing all the covers that we get for it, because the variant covers are always so much fun to see people's take on their version of Hazel and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been, God, it's just, I don't know, I just love the series. It's just so much fun.
It absolutely is, and like I said, it comes across. I got the blood metal cover
Yep.
for number 3, because I was looking at everything and I was like, ooh, I got to get that.
Yeah.
So you already got the money.
Yeah.
Like, it's already been back. As of this recording, you're already $1,300 over your goal.
Yeah.
With 2 weeks to go. Jay says, then when demand gets high, you could do Over the River, Tales from Hazel's House, or Through the Woods Back to Grandma's. How long has Hazel been at this? I'm going to have to do fanfic, aren't I?
Yes, you are, Jay.
Nice.
So yeah, and that's one thing, Will and I haven't been shy about talking about this either. There will be 3 versions of Grandma Chainsaw number 4 whenever we go to launch that, because It's going to have those fancy buzzwords that Kickstarter backers love, like the ones who haven't backed the series yet, because it's going to be Grandma Chainsaw 1-4 finale and trade. So we're going to have, normal Grandma Chainsaw number 4 and 3 variant covers, just like you would expect. We're going to have our completed trade paperback of this, and then we're going to have a special edition hardback called the Golden Girl Edition. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this thing. Yeah, it's actually called the Golden Gore Edition, but how we make it is going to be really cool. So yeah, we're just so excited just to have this thing in our hands too, and just to kind of see where it goes, but yeah, so that's going to be the campaign for number 4, because that will be our next project. So it's looking like it's going to be Grandma 3, Grandma 4, Horus, and then Pocus 6 is going to be coming out. So we're just, God, we got a lot of stuff cooking, and we're really excited for all of it.
Nice. Very, very excited to see number 4, and then obviously more Horus, and then getting back into the Pocus universe. And then I know when we had spoken previously, you guys had mentioned a couple other projects that you were working on completely unrelated to those. Where are some of those, the Sunday word or something about that?
One Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon. Yep.
Yes. And then the other one's Deacon Dan's famous chili.
That's right.
So yeah, we're obviously, those are still in the storyboard phase, just because we don't want to divert too much, because we know we just need to finish Grandma. Like, we have people asking us for Pocus 6. We hear you, we see you, we feel you, we love you. We want to release Pocus 6 too, but it's one of those, we're so close to wrapping up Grandma Chainsaw that we just can't stop, right?
Yeah, it's I feel like, just to stay on target, some of the other ones are still in the note taking phase. I have a notepad on Deacon Dan.
Yeah.
Some ideas. Alan and I have talked about those, and I think most of them are making the cut.
Yeah.
Mine, no pun intended.
Yeah, about everything of Deacon Dan's making the cut, because it is.
I mean, I don't think there are any in there that are too outrageous.
Yeah.
For a comic with the name Deacon Dan's famous chili.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I mean, yeah, that's in the note. I would say note-taking phase. One Sunday afternoon is a little bit more elaborate. And
from where we decided
about that a lot, but we want to. That's one that's strictly serious.
Yeah.
So I mean, we want to get it right.
It's serious, and
later,
it's just going to be a one shot. So we want to make sure we get it right out of the gate, and then this is the story we want to tell.
All right. Yep. So the Kickstarter is live. As I said, you've already, backed your goals. You've already reached your goals. So now at this point, you're kind of going for some of your stretch goals. Mm-hmm. What are some of the interesting add-ons and other unlockables that you have for this one? Obviously, the variant covers, and you said all the time, every time previously you've been on, that you want to give folks the opportunity to catch up if this is their first exposure to the book. You want to give them the chance to catch up on everything else that you guys have done. But what else? What kind of other fun things do you have? Like I said, like the Dead Squad shirt that I'm rocking right now.
Oh, and it looks so good on you.
It does. It's black and red. It's my favorite colors.
Yeah. Audio listeners, you're missing out. And I bet Doc will look even really good in his, if he had one.
I do. It's just that Anthony loves it so much. He's hoarding it.
You're going to get it next weekend. Shut your yap. You'll get it then. Quit your bitching.
So for this one, we followed a pretty simple method. Just keep it simple, stupid on this one, right? We have the variant covers on there. Obviously, if you've missed any one of our campaigns, we try to treat this as a digital store, so you can back anything that you may have missed. The other thing too that was, and I hate talking about this because it's already gone, you could be drawn into the book. We only had 4 of them available, and they went day 1. So that was pretty cool to see. So survival obviously not guaranteed. with that one because
I don't want to survive.
well, you're not going to.
I
Spoiler.
paid specifically because, like, God damn it, I want to die. Like, I want to be a victim. I don't want to be somebody who survives this. Fuck that. There's
Yeah.
no fun in that.
Oh man.
So that was something fun we did, and we obviously won't be able to tell the backers exactly what it is because it's a pretty big spoiler. So it's going to happen toward the end of issue 4. So just be on the lookout for that. Well, obviously, when it comes closer to time, we'll send everyone high res cuts of it. But yeah, you'll be in there. You'll be in issue 4, whether you want to be or not. But yeah, so that was something fun that we did. But yeah, like I said, this one was more so a keep it simple. Joey Galvez was huge in thinking of the Fright Nights card or the Fright Flicks cards. I'm sorry. The homage to the 1980s one that had, like, the slashers, Freddy Krueger, stuff like that on there. So we have those with Hazel on there, and then we have a couple more coming up as stretch goals. Obviously, it wouldn't be one of our campaigns if we didn't have a Stephanie Mooney print, so we got that on there as well. And then something that we've been really liking is keychains. We just think that they're just fun to offer, and then you can show your support on the go. But yeah, so whenever we get to issue 4, though, it's going to be a big campaign just because we're going to have a lot of stuff that we're offering because it's one of those, we may as well go big, right? It's the final issue of Grandma Chainsaw, right? So we want it to be fun. We want the campaign to be cool, enticing. And again, some people who do back crowdfunding, they may not, if they don't know who we are, they may not want to back single issue stuff because you do take a risk with crowdfunding sometimes. It's like, will the creators finish it? Will they do this? What will happen? How long will I have to wait? Right. So then whenever you get to your trade, that's when people are like, oh, okay, cool, I can get the whole thing together now. So that was kind of our thought process with everything just included in all together. So that way we don't have a separate campaign for it and everything like that.
Awesome. And we got some comments in the chat. Joey wants a shirt that says "I survived Deacon Dan's famous chili cook-off," and Jay Burns is jealous of the Dead Squad shirt. So awesome. Glad to rep it.
Yeah. Did you guys get
it was sitting on the desk next to me as I was getting ready because I was wearing just like a white undershirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's just it's gonna look terrible, like way too bright on the live stream and everything like that. I was like, let me get something. Oh, what do you know? How convenient.
Yeah. You guys got the Eat, Slay, Love shirts as well, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought you did too. Yeah. God, I love those shirts.
Yep. And I got the apron. I got the Grandma Chainsaw apron.
Yep.
Oh my God.
See, that's the thing. I love them, and yet because of the type of work I do, I'm usually wearing like traditional button-down shirts, so I wear them underneath what I'm wearing to work.
But and that's the most
exactly. And so some staff members, in between patients or whatever, I'm like, hey, check this out.
And then it's like, why is Doc taking his shirt off in the hallway? Like,
don't ask. Don't worry about it.
Hey, let me pull you into my office here and take, as I unbutton my shirt. It's like, okay, there, Matt Lauer. Like, take it easy.
Look, I've been in some, horror movie-esque situations. As a matter of fact, and for once, I'm going to be the one that goes on a complete tangent. I actually had a gentleman. I was supposed to do his initial psychiatric evaluation, and let's just say his mood was all over the place, and he had some very intimate thoughts.
Okay.
And my first tip-off should have been when he said, "Oh, you are such a handsome doctor." And
but I mean, hey, facts are facts. So
well, that's all well and
right.
good. Yeah. But when I go into my office with that person, and the first thing they do is turn the lights off and say, "Let's have some fun." Yeah, that's a bad sign. So I just immediately turned the lights. Oh, I immediately turned them back on and said, "Thank you for this evaluation," because I think that's all we need. So
turn them off.
Thankfully, there were no chainsaws involved, and the person got the help they needed.
Okay. Way to be a spoil sport.
I know.
Well, that's the difference between my regular life and being in a horror comic.
Yep.
Fair. All right. So I guess that about covers it. I think we stayed fairly on track, all things considered, especially for an Alan and Will episode. We didn't deviate too much from everything. Alan, I told you to stop turning the light out like that.
Hey, Doc, listen. He was really professional. He didn't have a HIPAA violation. He was speaking in broad terms, and then you come in here and out my business.
And I'm getting a. Oh, this is a text. I'm losing my license. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
All right. Well, now he's just Mr. Issues moving forward. Well, that's it. That's the end of Doc's tenure on the show. I guess it's just going to be me now because Doc is going to have to take some time off to address some of the professional issues. So we're going to wrap things up. Gentlemen, pleasure as always. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, the best place to always follow us, obviously, is our newsletter. And I think one of the things is obviously just follow us on Kickstarter, because you'll be notified whenever we go live or we have a project coming up or anything like that. It's really just it's homogenized that way. And Will's going to talk about this today because it all happened so fast. We're actually working on a website right now. So you'll be able to follow us on there too, because we're working on some on-demand stuff that we can have.
Well, I'm on Instagram at willrad82, and if you want to check out any of my film or video work, it's vimeo.com/willrad. Awesome.
We'll have links to all that in the show notes, so folks can just click it. As Chris from Play Comics always says, it's much easier to click things than to have to type them out. So you can find all of our episodes on our website, capesonthecouch.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not X, Threads, TikTok, at Capes on the Couch. You can also find us on YouTube if you're watching the live stream for this episode. As I said, moving forward, we're going to start to live stream a little bit more. We have a Patreon, which Doc and I are going to be doing a little bit more stuff. I actually have some ideas that I've been meaning to text you about, Doc, with some suggestions for November, especially with the Marvels coming out. I had a really good idea, so I'll fill you in on that later. But you can unlock additional content, early access, all kinds of exclusive stuff there. So you can head on over to patreon.com/capesonthecouch and subscribe. It's $1, $3, or $5. Just helps keep the lights on the show and helps us continuing to create the awesome content that we hope that you love and expect from us. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. In 2 weeks, we will be doing Big B Wolf from Fables. As I said, that was supposed to be this week, but then Alan texted me and was like, hey, Kickstarter's live. I said, well, let's clear the schedule and get this done. And hopefully in 2 weeks, this cough will be gone so I can stop dealing with this and I can stop sounding like my grandmother. May she rest in peace.
Well, I mean, that's really on the nose, isn't it?
It is, not with a chainsaw, but just, with the smoking. Yeah. She had that smoker's laugh where she was like,
come here.
the hacking, whereas, you have to expect her to be like, in a bingo call, Beneath, did they call did they call B9? I just have B9. Beneath, I just need B9.
Oh, wow.
To fill out the card.
We were so close, man. We were so close to actually staying on target the entire time.
You know what the most amazing thing is just now? I've never seen this before, but on YouTube, your viewership just dropped to negative. I don't know how that happened.
I didn't know that was possible, but woohoo! Listen, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be us. So
yeah, we somehow have broken the algorithm to the point that they will.
We owe them views now.
Yeah, they will subtract people from this planet if they decide to watch us.
What's that about Al Gore's rhythm? Like, I'm super cereal. It's Man Bear Pig.
Oh,
he's half man, half bear, half pig. I'm super serious, you guys. All right. Thank you, Alan and Will. My friends, as always, it's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to have you on.
Thank you,
And
guys.
looking forward to bringing you back on for Grandma Chainsaw 4. Just text me
Absolutely.
when it's ready, and we'll clear a path for you.
Awesome. Hey, thank everyone for watching too. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Appreciate everybody on the live stream. Check us out. As I said, capesonthecouch.com. We're also proud members of the Gonna Geek Network. You can go to gonnageek.com and find all the awesome shows available there. For Doc Issues, I'm Anthony Sitko. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
We're still live. You gotta hit the button.